Listeners, beware! You're in for a scare.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to Nightmare on Fear Street, an R.L. Stine podcast, and welcome to 2018, the very first episode.
Oh, whoa, it's the future!
Meg, why didn't you warn me about the future? I'm surprised you didn't send me a message when it was like 2018.
I was in America on New Year's, actually.
You still have the time difference. I was expecting the message of, Zach, you're living in the past.
I honestly didn't think about that. I don't know why, but my brain just sort of forgets that America has more than one time zone.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of time zones. I consider it, we have like 3 time zones. I would consider it a time zone trio, if you will.
And the time zone part with the computer robots was unreal. Yeah, it's the first official Nightmare on Fear Street episode of 2018.
Yes. We did take 2 weeks off, so it's kind of like really weird. But luckily, this sounds completely normal. I want to thank our new, robot automatic overlord president and him defeating the alien army in Belgium.
I'm just sitting here like, See, the point, we've gotten to the point in the world that, I have to stop, and when Zack says something ridiculous like that, I have to stop and think about whether or not it's real, because with the way the world is now, like the CIA released all these documents that basically say, hey, aliens are real, and we've known about them all along, and people were just like, yeah, and? Because that's not even the wildest thing that's happened.
And people are like, guys, we need to eat those Tide Pods. That one makes me laugh. I still makes me chuckle, so don't worry.
My favorite meme of the year so far has been making fun of people from Oregon who don't know how to pump gas.
To be fair, it's kind of funny.
It's hilarious. Did you see the picture with the guy and he's got the gas thing trailing out of his petrol?
Yeah.
The little door that the petrol goes in, and the hose is just trailing off of the back of his car.
No, my favorite one, someone put the pump into their exhaust pipe.
Oh, I think I saw that one.
Oh no, I think that's one that I showed my dad, and I've never seen a man scream as someone opened up their engine and they put it where you would put your coolant.
Oh no. Oh no.
We live in a weird world, but then again, most people have never pumped gas in their life, so I kind of feel bad for them. I just think of the Gravity Falls episode with the pop stars, where they don't know how to do anything, and the person's trying to drink water.
Yeah. Honestly, it makes me think of that scene in Zoolander where the guys have the gasoline fight, and then, the petrol station explodes.
Who would have known that a freak gasoline accident could kill so many beautiful men? How was your spooky week, Meg?
It was good. So I went to New York on the Amtrak train, and I was up there for 2 days. I got to see Nicole Goodnight from the No Sleep podcast.
Rad. And
we hung out, and I spent a lot of time, just sobbing in the back of her car because none of us knew where we were going.
Did you guys just end up in, weird places?
No, we would just kind of parked ourselves at a Starbucks and just had cake pops for dinner, and it was a good time.
That's an aesthetic in the name of a memoir. We sat in the back of a car and had cake pops for dinner.
The mood for 2018, me crying in the back of a car holding a cake pop.
Oh my god, that sounds... Did you see any cool sights?
Yeah, we saw the Chrysler Building and the Empire State, and we didn't get all the way out to the Statue of Liberty, but we did get to see the Radio City Music Hall, and we went to the Christmas Fair in Chelsea, Manhattan, and it was a lot of fun. And I got to reconnect with my best friend from grade 3. So, and then I got back from New York. I spent Christmas with my mom and dad, and we didn't really do anything for Christmas. We didn't really do anything for New Year's, but right before I left to come back home, we drove out to Littleton, North Carolina, home of the Cryptozoology and Paranormal Museum.
What? You didn't tell me this, and you didn't buy me a t-shirt?
I bought myself a t-shirt.
You can keep it. That's yours.
And you can go there yourself. It's fun. I want to take every single person I know there because it's the greatest place I've ever been. It's basically a guy's house He used to be a journalist, but he lost his job, couldn't afford to live in New York anymore, came down to North Carolina, and he moved into a haunted house, and he was like, I'm gonna make this into a museum. I'm gonna make a museum of all of the weird shit that I have seen in this house. And then it ended up that, like, the whole town is basically haunted. I think on the Cryptid Keeper podcast, Alex said something about, on the last episode they did with listener stories, Alex said something about, like, how all of West Virginia is cursed.
It's not like it's all built on, like, ancient Indian burial grounds.
Yeah, that's pretty much word for word what she said. And I feel like North Carolina, parts of it are the same, because it's a very, like, the whole of the sort of, like, southern East Coast Appalachian foothills kind of area is just real weird. Like, when we were driving out to Littleton, I saw, among other things, a roof of a barn that had been blown away in a storm, presumably, and was just sitting in with trees growing up all around it. There was, we passed by a frozen lake, and in the middle of this frozen lake, like dead middle, sort of like child-sized dinghy with a Christmas tree sitting in it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Meg. This sounds like a completely normal place.
Yeah, that's fair. But, yeah, so the cryptozoology, it was originally just a ghost museum, this cryptozoology and paranormal museum. But because, like, everybody in the town was sharing their own sort of ghost evidence and their ghost stories to build the museum. But then people started coming in with Bigfoot stories, because they're right on Medoc Mountain State Forest, which is apparently, like, Bigfoot central for North Carolina. That's where all the Bigfoots live. And the Bigfoots will come right up to your house, go through your bins, and then, like, run away like a bloody, like, raccoon or something. So he had all these trail cam pictures and footprint casts, and it was really cool. And I think, like, my parents was so very, very convinced by all of this. Like, not that I wasn't, but it's like my parents didn't really care at all about Bigfoot. They were just like, oh, it's just like a fairy story. You know, it's just like a fake thing that people talk about. They sort of, like, while they were there, it was amazing. This guy's ability to just, like, my dad's very skeptical, but even my dad was like, oh, yeah, well, the Bigfoots, how big do the Bigfoots get out here? It's like, you're there and you just accept.
I can already, like, now that I know what your dad looks like, it's even funnier him asking that question.
Yeah, and my mom was, like, really into it. My mom was so into it. She was like, she's telling everybody she sees, like, now, like, everybody she's talked to now, she's gotta tell them about the bloody Bigfoot Museum. And I've made the plan that next time I go back to the States, God willing, I will go up to Virginia, get Addison and Alex, and bring them down to the Bigfoot Museum, and then they're gonna come back to my house and watch The Secret of Rowan Inish on VHS. Because I have that. And that's partnered to their interests as well. Yes, that was the coolest thing that I did, I think. And then I've been working on, like, I've been trying to get back into my animation and stuff. And I put a new design up on my Redbubble, which is based on Henry's instant Christmas classic, in my opinion, Christmas with Mr. Strings. So there's now a Christmas with Mr. Strings t-shirt on my Redbubble page, which I will say the URL of in the end of the show, as I normally do.
Yay!
How was your spooky week, Zach?
It's been the coolest, spookiest, like, 2 weeks. The first thing that happened is I got to go see The Disaster Artist with the two friends that I made while legitimately watching The Room in PE. But
good.
It's the funny thing is I finally can talk about it because the NDA doesn't lift, but I got to go see The Disaster Artist like 6 months ago. Like, the second time they showed it was James Franco. And that was the weirdest experience of my life.
Is he, like, a nice guy in real life?
Yeah, he was really nice.
That's so cool.
Like, he came there because this is literally the second premiere, because they had just filmed it they just shown it at North by Northwest, and he had just flown from that to come to this one.
Wow.
And he did the Tommy voice, and it was
That's so
really
good.
Awesome. That was amazing. And then, like, after that, I went to go see Hamilton.
Oh, so jealous.
I've never had, like, a life-changing, like, event in my life. And then seeing Hamilton was just, like, I'm mad at myself now because I can't enjoy theater as much as, like, that experience is the greatest experience of my life.
Like, nothing you ever see will be as good as Hamilton.
Like, it's like my like, production-wise and singing-wise and all that stuff. Like, I'd be like, it's good. It's not Hamilton good, but it's good.
I think that's everyone's opinions on Hamilton, basically. And Lin-Manuel Miranda, if you're listening to this, bring Hamilton to Australia, please.
Other than that, I got some amazing Secret Santa gifts. I got one from this dude that knew that I liked Mystery Science Theater, so he like 3D printed me a 2-scale Tom Servo.
Oh my god!
And I like lost my poop, and I was just like, what?
That's the greatest.
I almost cried just because I opened the box up and I just see this big old Tom Servo. I was just like, oh my god.
I cannot believe. I want a 2-scale Tom Servo. Can I commission this guy?
I don't know who he is. He never gave me his name.
Oh, because it was a Secret Santa. Oh no. You'll never know who it was.
I'll never know who sent it. For all I know, it could have actually been like the guy that actually makes the Tom Servos.
Oh man, Joel Hodgson himself.
And then the greatest thing that happened this week is, Meg, we got the release date for season 2 of Series of Unfortunate Events.
Yes, and it's 4 days before my birthday. I cannot believe that Netflix has given me this gift to me personally, their greatest fan.
Yes, and personally, they put it on Passover. So I was just like, my tinfoil hat was on. I was like, wait, what?
He cannot stay. Lemony Snicket cannot stay away from those Jewish references.
Oh, no, we can't. See, what's going to end up happening is we're just going to make a separate episode. It's just going to be us talking about it. Cause
we probably will. I mean, I know for a fact that instead of having a birthday party, I'm just going to invite a bunch of people over and force them all to watch it. Also, Esme Squalor, can we just talk about her?
Yeah.
She's like my favorite character in that whole series. She is like what I have modeled my entire like brand on, sort of. Not really, like, because obviously I don't wear, I'm not into animal cruelty. I don't wear fur. I am not mean to children. I am not cheating on my significant other, and I have never worn lettuce on my tits. But other than that, just like, I just love her. She's one of my favorite characters in the entire series. I kind of like jokingly said, well, Lucy Punch, the actress who's playing Esme Squalor, you know, if she's gonna be blonde, if she's gonna keep her natural blonde hair for the series, I'm gonna have to bleach my hair and be a blonde so I can more effectively be Esme Squalor. Like, I'm seriously considering it. Like, I probably won't go blonde, but I, at the very least, will, like, put more green in my hair than is already in my hair. Because I feel like I gotta mark every season of a series of unfortunate events with some form of body modification. Like, around the time season 1 release date was announced, I got a tattoo. And this time around, I have changed my hair color. And maybe for season 3, I'll get a nose ring or something. I don't know.
You got like a horseradish tattoo.
I'm just imagining like a really like intricate, like an old fashioned like sailor style tattoo of just like a jar of horseradish mustard.
He who hesitates is lost.
Or she.
It's
funny because I'm wearing my cat eye glasses today, so I am Fiona. Anyway, so this week we read The Ghost Next Door, and I genuinely think this is like one of the best ones.
I can give you a short analysis of this book. You ready for my very short review?
I'm ready.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Okay, that you can turn off this episode.
That's accurate.
It's very accurate.
Yeah. This has been Nightmare on Fear Street. Thanks for listening.
Take care, guys. Bye. Stay spooked. No, I've never read a book where I think for me, when it comes to bad movies, good movies, or things that I love that I consider good, is if it sticks with you for after you finish reading it.
This one,
and this is one of those books is where I sat and like really like let this book digest.
This book really sticks with you because like a lot of the Goosebumps books that we've read on this show, I like put the book down and then immediately forget everything that happens in the book. But this one like is very, very impactful. And I would say it's one of the darkest and most adult of the Goosebumps books in terms of like the gravity of the subject matter.
I'm really interested to see like what was going through R.L. Stein's mind. I tried doing some more research in this book, and because it's so vastly different than what he writes.
It is.
That I was convinced that it was either like R.L. Stein's twin brother Maurice or something. It's just like R.L. Stein with like a mustache like wrote this book.
But which one's the evil twin? No one knows.
As he like flies off in his air dirigible. It's so vastly different that I know that he wrote this book, but I feel like he didn't write this book at the same time because it's so vastly not him.
It's very, very different. It's a lot more serious. And, you know, we're kind of used to, R.L. Stine books with just like weird stuff, like all of the weird kind of goofy stuff that he puts in his books. This is way like on an absolute different level.
Dude, it's like he cranks it up to like 13.
Yeah, and because 13 is a spooky number. So, do you want to talk about this cover?
Yeah, I'm guessing you have the other version of the cover?
I have got the reprint, and I'm guessing that you have the original.
I actually think this is one of my favorite covers ever, so...
I'm actually really, like, I didn't know what the reprint cover of this one looked like, but I really love that original one.
Like, for me, it's like, all it is like a very high angle. You just see 2 feet, so it is like the front door, there's a welcome mat, and there's like ghost feet, and it's wearing like Vans.
Like Chuck Taylor's kind of. That white rubber strip across the front that the Chuck Taylors always have.
The cool thing about them is like they're ghost legs and they're slowly fading, and
yeah,
the doors opened up, and there's like a checkered floor, and there's another person that's also wearing like Chuck Taylors. And you don't see who either of them are, and it's such an amazingly striking image.
My cover is so lame. Kind of like a spooky, kind of haunted mansion-y doorknob, like an old-fashioned door knocker.
What knockers? Thank you, doctor.
You just completely no-scoped me with that. Young Frankenstein is one of my favorite movies of all time. There's like a glowing yellow hand, see-through but like shiny around the outer edges, reaching up towards the door knocker. And I think that this cover is like, it lacks that kind of creepy subtlety of the old one, and it's very much like, whoa, spooky skeletons, which is not what this book is at all.
No, it's the complete opposite. That's why I think this cover, like, Tim Jacobus just like knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
Just because it almost tells its own story.
Yeah.
Compared to the other ones. Like, I don't know, it's even also the name, because it's like, you know, the plan of the girl next door or something, whatever.
The fact that Ghost is like gender neutral is very like clever little plot point. You know, it's not like the girl next door or the boy next door, it's the ghost. You don't know who's the ghost? We don't know.
So there's the tagline to this book. There's a strange new kid on the block. ... Oh my god, the new kids are on the block? This is more like an NSYNC neighborhood.
The new kids on the block, I'm just thinking of that scene in It where Beverly closes the door, and then it just like hard cuts to like weird big zoom in on the guy's face with like the musical sting playing. I'm just imagining that. Hannah's neighborhood has gotten a little ... weird ever since that new boy moved in next door. But when did he move in? Wasn't the house empty when Hannah went to sleep the night before? Why does it still look so deserted? Hannah can't get answers from her new neighbor. He just keeps disappearing in the oddest ways, and he's so pale... Is Hannah being haunted by the ghost next door?
Or he could just be a ginger.
Yeah.
Oh, and he is a ginger.
Oh, man. Is this... in an R.L. Stine book?
Yes, this is...
a ginger who is not a terrible person?
No, he's not a terrible person. He's got...
a friend ginger?
I know, it's science fiction and all, but...
I know, that's how you know this work really was ghost written, because, like, R.L. Stine has never liked a ginger in his life.
See, that's how, like, we know, like, he's being kidnapped. I'm writing a book about a ginger. He's the main character, and everyone likes him. Oh, and he also has a twin.
And there's definitely not a pair of ginger twins holding a gun to my head while I write this.
Of course not. If by any chance, here's the location of a random person. Send help and dogs.
Our main character is Hannah, who...
is me. Hannah's me.
I'm glad Hannah's you.
Because, like, the way she talks and everything, like, she's as sassy as humanly possible.
Yeah, I really like Hannah. She's a good character. But it opens with her, and she's having a dream that her house is on fire.
Yes, it's more like a disco inferno. But it's like horrific. Like
burn, baby, burn. Disco inferno.
The way she describes it is like she's stuck in bed, and fire's just coming out of everywhere, and she cannot get out of bed, and she's slowly starting to feel like she's getting a little hot.
I really like that opening, because it just, like, it's sort of... I complain a lot about the fake-out cliffhangers in Goosebumps, and this is one where it's actually warranted, where it's like, because we'll get into, if you know Goosebumps, you probably know what the twist of this one is, because it was a point in the movie as well. So, like, if you know anything about this franchise.
I had never read this book before after seeing the movie, because it's just one of those that just escaped my radar. But I really wish that I didn't know the twist of this, because the whole book it starts clicking. But then again, if you knew the twist, the book makes even more sense.
Yeah, there's like it's a lot like Welcome to Camp Nightmare in that way, in that like the twist doesn't seem like it comes out of nowhere the first time you read it. Like it still feels like they built it up a little bit, but because it doesn't happen right at the end, it happens sort of around the middle. When you read it again, you see all these little like, oh, that's why, you know?
Yeah, because it's like he makes like a point of like the dogs like chase her. No one kind of knows who she is, and like it just makes. Okay, we'll just get into it. So Hannah wakes up and she has two brothers. She has Harv and
Herb.
Herb.
Herb. Like
Herbert.
Like Herbert. And Bill.
Yes.
And of course they're twins. Of course they're twins.
Yeah, why would they not be twins? And they hang out all the time. They're having so much fun, but Hannah's super bored because it's summer vacation and she hasn't gotten a single letter.
Yeah, her friend Janie hasn't been writing her, and it's weird because she writes Janie all the time.
Yeah, you know, it's almost as if like a house elf keeps taking all her letters so she can't go back to school that year because something bad's gonna happen.
She writes letters.
Which is interesting because we also get those letters in this book. Like, they actually, like, they write the letters out, and it's really interesting because you get, like her free-flowing thoughts and how it's, like, a different thing that doesn't happen else in the other books, I don't think.
Yeah, it's just, it's different. She tells her friend Janie about how they've been doing, you know, they've been having barbecues in the yard and lighting fires and roasting marshmallows and watching a lot of TV, but there's not a lot to do because everybody's away because it's school holidays.
So Lamesville, man.
Lame.
It's almost like the pits.
Oh, man. It's almost like the pits, but it's not because the town's actually called Greenwood Falls. It's not called Pitt's Landing. How wild would it be if this took place in the same town as Say Cheese and Die?
I would scream and leave.
The R.L. Stine connected universe.
I mean, in theory, they're all connected. And
yeah, isn't that what... That's just what the Horrorland series is. It's the R.L. Stine cinematic universe.
Yes.
So she goes outside, and she gets run over by a kid on a bike. And the first line of this book, of chapter 2, is Hannah landed hard on her elbows and knees. And that threw me because, like, when you get tripped over, you don't reach out with your elbows to block your fall.
No, you always, like, I know that feeling of, like, especially when you, like, you bash your knees and you land in your hands.
Yeah, when like, hitting your elbows really hard is really painful.
She notices the person on the bike, and it's a new kid.
And she's wearing neon green and orange, so...
Like, she makes it, like, a point of saying that she's wearing neon green and orange. She's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's basically she's, like, wearing a high-vis, and she can't believe he didn't see her.
I love it, because it's like, I'm sorry I didn't see you. And she's like, how could you miss me? I'm flippin' wearing neon.
She talks to him, and she finds out that he's just moved in next door, even though she never saw a moving van.
What do you mean you've been here for a while? Well, how old are you? Well, I'm in the 8th grade. Really? I'm also in the 8th grade. Weird.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you before. Just as he leaves, she spots like a shadow or something creepy coming and calling up for her.
Yeah.
Hannah.
Ooh, this shadow person is like... That's one of those creepiest things we've seen in Goosebumps so far is this shadow person that follows her around.
Oh yeah, no, it keeps following her. But every time it gets too close, usually it's the main character in this is Dan.
Yeah, Danny is the boy next door.
So yeah, Dan is always there to save her.
Yeah, she tries to, like, she sees people out on the street and she tries to say hi and they don't say anything to her. And she thinks, that's weird. That's really weird.
Man, these people are lame. I guess I'm gonna go write another letter to my friend. And she takes it to the store, I guess, the post office, and that's when she hears shouting.
Yeah.
Terrible shouting, so she goes into the back alley, and she sees Old Man Jenkins. No, this guy's literally like Old Man Jenkins is like Old Man.
Yeah, pretty much. Isn't it Mr. Quilty? Or Mr. Chesney, that's it.
Yeah, Old Man Chesney. And he's like, how dare you kids loiter back here? You are good for...
It's Danny and his boys, and they are up to trouble.
They got into one little fight.
And then Mom got scared, so now he lives with his auntie and his uncle in Bel Air.
This French Prince is connected to R.L. Stine.
Yeah, she's hanging out with Danny, and she can't believe it. Like, she doesn't know why she didn't notice him moving in, and she's
She especially doesn't notice the two other boys. Like, they're also the same age as her, but she's never seen them in school. It's really weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's really weird. So I guess if it was that big of a school, it would be hard. But like, I could at least recognize everybody that. But then I kind of remember faces. I remember faces really well. I'm not as good with names.
I just think of it like they're just background anime characters. They're just drawn a little different each time.
Yeah.
The only way to tell them apart is if they have like blue hair.
That's when you know. No, if they have blue hair, they're not a background character anymore. They're the protagonist.
It's like one of my favorite pictures is the one where it's like try to spot the main character and everyone's like really shabby and the one has like neon pink hair.
Yeah, I saw a meme that was like, I love when you see your customized character in a cutscene full of NPCs, and it was like a bunch of like normal looking people and then just like this huge guy with like a parrot mask and a pink tutu, and it was so funny.
Big beefy boy.
Yeah, big beefy boy. She keeps seeing the shadow person. It's really like...
And like there's the fake out chapters actually her like running away from him and like...
Yeah.
Like it gets kind of spooky. It's like every time she
there's no fake out. Like, I love it. It's like the shadow figure. It's red eyes growing, moved in to capture her. Hannah. And then chapter 8, I was like, oh, what? It's gonna be like her brother wearing a mask or something. And it's not. It's still chasing her in the beginning of chapter 8. And I was like, oh, this is unheard of.
Yeah, no, because there's the part where like he chases her and she's like, I got away. Little did I know he'd be back.
Danny can't see the shadow people, but Hannah tells her about it. Hannah tells him about it.
And she's like, no way, I don't believe that. And then she goes home and she tells her parents, I think this new kid's a ghost.
Dun, dun, dun. And she writes another letter to Jane.
I just love it because it's kind of like almost like the scene in Coraline. It's like he's a ghost and the mom's just not paying attention. Like, oh, that's cool, honey. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I could have died today. Very nice. Yeah. Then the next day she decides to drop the letter off and she says my favorite line of this whole book. Like,
what?
She's like realizing it's like really empty today and there's like everything's kind of spread out and there's no one there. It's like, man, this is some type of hick town or something.
I love that, yes. I love how, like, when she's writing, she puts random words in just capital.
Oh, yeah. That seems like a kid thing to do.
That is such, like, a middle schooler thing to do.
You know, make words that you think are important.
You gotta yell them.
Banana.
In your mind.
That's important.
Waffles, lol. That's just a random thought I had. XD.
Rawr XD. Rawr XD.
Oh, I'm having war flashbacks. She sees Danny, and I really like that she goes out to mail this letter, and she sees Danny, and he's, like, ringed in light.
The interesting thing about this book, it's so self-contained. There's not any bully character. Actually, kind of, but not really. It's very self-contained story.
There's not, like, it doesn't fall into a lot of the, like, R.L. Stine beats that he usually hits in his stories. Like, you're right, there isn't, like, an exaggerated bully character. There are, like, annoying twin siblings, but they're not as annoying as some of the other ones have been.
But then was it with, like, Danny? He's, like, hey, let me show you a cool trick, and he jumps, isn't it from the roof? Or he does something where, like, he falls head first, but then the next scene, he's on his feet. He's a cat.
He won't let her mail the letter, and he says, because you found out the truth about me, and you can't tell anybody. So she's right, he is a ghost. And I really like this book. I love this book so much.
One of my favorite things about this part, Meg, is it's not a fake out chapter. It ends and he keeps continuing.
It's not like she doesn't say, like, they continue it longer than the ending of the chapter, because it's not like she is like, immediately, you're a ghost, and then he's like, no, I'm not.
Because remember, she goes home to watch General Hospital?
Yeah.
That hunky George Clooney. He'll never... I hear...
No, that was ER. That was ER.
Was that ER?
No, he was on ER. He was not on General Hospital. I don't know who was on General Hospital. I don't remember.
I get my big beefy boys confused.
My smoldering lads. So she goes to the door of Danny's house and she's trying to knock on the door. And yeah, she sees the mom and the mom just doesn't react to her at all.
And like she's like pounding on the door and stuff, and her mom's just not paying attention. And this is like kind of where you kind of get the idea like there's something off about this.
Yeah, and then Hannah starts to realize like, oh, I know why she's not answering the door.
What is it, Meg? Why is she not answering the door? What is the plot twist?
Hannah reckons it's because Mrs. Anderson is a ghost too.
Yes, that is it, Meg. You solved the whole book. Then she hangs out with Danny again, and yeah, he asks her, like, why is your mom? I was pounding on the door, and no, she didn't notice. And Danny's like, oh, that's because my mom is deaf. It's such an interesting, like, plot thing.
Is it or is it not? It's sort of like what we were saying about Revenge of the Living Dummy. That's it. That one had a good, like, is this supernatural or is it just somebody screwing with them? Or is it just, like, does it have a normal explanation? Does it have... I like that a lot.
Well, in this one, they could have easily have made, like, the mom totally, like, an incompetent character. But, like, it's like, oh, yeah, she's just daft. She doesn't like showing it to people.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that makes sense. And I feel like they handled it in a really interesting way in this book. Because then that's when she overhears people come into the house.
Yeah.
And what did they say, Meg?
It's the police. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, no.
Here they are, trying to investigate the ice cream crime.
The crime in the city is insane. It was that, and then the Burger Joe's location got vandalized.
Rest in peace, Burger Joe. The police are asking for directions.
No, it's like the realtors come to the house and she's just like freaking like, why are there people here? Because she can't find her family.
And the shadow person is like on her, and it's so like chapter 13. It gets close enough, and it's so creepy. Hannah, it whispered, so close she could smell its hot, sour breath. They keep saying that its voice sounds like crackling dead leaves, and I think that's so creepy. I love that description. I've mentioned this before, but I have seen a shadow person.
I think you've told me this before. Yeah, I think you've also said it on the show before. I
think I definitely said it somewhere on some show.
Like, just the idea of seeing like a shadow person or something just scares me.
Have you ever seen that documentary, The Nightmare?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they talk a lot about, like, shadow people and Hat Man and stuff.
I know, and then the twist starts to come where some realtors come to the house, and Hannah's freaking out. And, she's being chased by the shadow person. So then Hannah notices that she lives right next to Mr. Chesney's house.
Yeah.
And Danny and the boys are coming around making mischief, and they notice that Mr. Chesney has like the world's...
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Because she had noticed previously that the boys had stolen some ice cream because they wanted to get some confectionery.
From Harder's Ice Cream Parlor. That's an incredibly strange name for an ice cream parlor. Like, I know, I get it's supposed to be someone's last name, but Harder.
All I know is the flavor of the week was probably like Tide Pods.
Did you see that Onion headline that was like, Tide releases new sour and green apple flavored pods?
Yeah, so that's what they're licking on some Tide Pods.
You know what's weird is like, we don't have Tide Pods here, but Oak Milk put out a blue flavor for a limited time, and it looks like laundry detergent to me. So it's almost like they're trying to get in on the trend.
It's all the trend.
Hello, fellow teens. Just like shoves Tide Pods into your mouth, chases it down with some of that raw water.
Dine and ditch, where they steal the ice cream before they pay. And then they like, hey guys, look at Mr. Chesney's house. He's got like a geese mailbox because he's a weirdo. And then Mr. Chesney comes back and he's mad.
And he's shaking his fist. You kids.
He shakes his fist like, get off my lawn, you kids.
Get off my lawn, you kids.
I'll get my shotgun. Old Faithful, I call her. Because he's a weirdo, and like one of the kids breaks one of the wings off, and that's like, I'll kill you next time I see you. That's when Hannah comes home, and she notices there's people in her house. The scariest people in the whole world, Meg. Realtors. No.
Having a fear of realtors is irrational because, as we all know, nothing evil has ever occurred due to realtors.
Oh, good old
I fucked up that quote.
And Josephine.
Yeah.
Meg, so what are they talking about?
They're talking about selling the house. And Hannah's like...
Why would they be selling the house? Hannah lives there.
But she doesn't, Zach.
But why doesn't she?
That fire that she had a dream about, that was not a dream.
Are you telling me the dream I had where I was just in my underpants and people were laughing at me wasn't just a dream? Oh.
No, Zach, that was real.
Oh, thank God. I was worried for a second.
But Hannah, actually, when they were cooking out on the fire in the backyard, Hannah didn't put the fire out properly. So the house caught on fire while everyone was asleep. Everyone died. She's a ghost. The little kids, the twins, they're ghosts. The parents, their ghost.
But then who was phone?
Danny was phone. Before she sees the realtors and hears them talking about the house, she confronts Danny and says, Danny, I know you're a ghost. I know you're actually dead. And Danny's like, what are you talking about? And then she ends up, like, running through Danny. And that's when she realizes that she was Ghost.
It all just starts coming together. She realizes that she's dead. She's D-E-E-D, dead.
They treat it really seriously.
Yeah, there's like hardly any jokes in this book.
Yeah, there's like this book is probably, it's not my favorite, but I would say that it is well written and it's very mature.
It gets to the point of where she's like thinking rationally and she's really thinking about like, oh, I'm actually dead.
The scene with the realtors also kind of reminds me of in like, in Christmas Carol, the Ghost of Christmas Future showing Scrooge around and all those people are like, I'm glad he's dead now. This man who I'm not going to say his name.
But please tell the name. Oh, good heavens.
Oh, good spirit. Who is the name of this wretched creature? And then he wipes the dirt off the tombstone and
Hannah Fairchild.
Yeah. And it's really sad. Like, the thing that's really sad about this book is the fact that she's been, like, writing letters to Janie.
And then, like, everything clicks because it's like, oh, when did she die? 5 years ago. And like, oh my god, it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Do you imagine, like, when she puts letters, are they actually, like, ghost letters? Do they just, like, disappear when they go into, like, the mailbox?
Yeah, I guess.
What is the one? It's a Nicholas Sparks book. It's the one where the girl puts, like, letters in the mailbox.
It's like the beach house or something.
The beach house? Yeah, it's like that.
And you know what else this book reminds me of?
What?
You know the movie The Others?
Oh, yeah, I love The Others.
This is so much like The Others.
I mean, this book could have easily have been like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it is. It's also very Beetlejuice. Oh no, we've said... I won't say it a third time.
I could, but I don't want to, because, I mean, it'd be really awkward having Michael Keaton in my room right now.
He'd come and mess up our podcast.
I know, it'd be, like, amazing. Guys, we have a celebrity on the show.
It's his show now. We've been exorcised from Welcome to Fear Street. This is his show now.
Welcome to the Beatcast. But no, because then it starts to get even crazier because now that she's got these ghost powers, her family's all gone. Like, they don't exist anymore in the houses.
Yeah, they've all crossed over. Now that she's realized that they're all dead, they've, like, crossed over.
Is it like a simulation? I guess because it's like a purgatory?
I guess, it sort of is. I mean, I kind of get the feeling that, like, she exists outside of time.
Well, no, but time's still moving. It makes no sense. It's just like she's in a loop.
She still thinks that it's the same summer as when she died.
Or it could be like a Groundhog Day situation, but she just doesn't realize it.
I think it might be that she just doesn't realize that it's been 5 years. Like, she thinks it's still, like, the same week that she died.
I mean, wouldn't she notice, like, people getting older? But I think maybe she just doesn't notice.
I mean, we could get into a whole discussion about what we think about ghosts and, like, what ghosts see of the world. And my sister and I actually, over lunch, we were talking about the stone tape theory. Have you heard of that?
Oh, which one's that one?
It's this theory that, like, places can record, like, the vibrational energy of certain events and emotions. And that when you're seeing ghosts, you're actually, like, feeling, like, seeing into the past, sort of, like, because the event has been recorded.
It's not particularly like the building that's haunted. It's more the land because of all the energy that's stored up there. That's why, like, you see, like, Civil War battlefields, like, they still keep going on. I like that theory. I remember when they did was it Ghost Adventures when they went to Gettysburg?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but
oh, it's so good. But yeah, no, there's like because I would consider her like a poltergeist because she can actually move objects and stuff.
Yeah, and also. But she's not, in a way, she's not like, she's sort of a poltergeist and not she's more like, I'll tell you what ghost she's like. She's a lot like Annie from Being Human. Because sometimes people can see her, other times people can't see her, but regardless of whether or not she's visible, she can manipulate objects.
Well, that's because, Meg, they have the shinning.
Danny has the shinning.
The shinning?
Don't you mean the shining? Shh, we'll get sued. Don't read my mind between 6 and 7. That's Willie's time.
So things start to get progressively worse for Hannah because she realizes, because she almost has like omnipotency, where she realizes that the kids are going to go back and they're actually going to steal the mailbox again. But, Mr. Chesney's going to be there with his old faithful shotgun. Fetch me musket.
When I was like, around the time Corpse Bride came out, me and my friends, like, as a reaction to like anything mildly annoying, we would just be like, fetch me musket.
I always loved that.
Yeah.
So she goes there, and this is where like the book again changes, where it's not from her perspective, but it becomes the perspective of Danny.
Yeah. It's written in third person, so when you say perspective, it's not like a full-on perspective shift, but it is just like shifts the focus.
She's watching it unfold, and how like the kids are like trying to steal the mailbox, and they succeed, but then they decide, hey, we're gonna break into his house, and then they do, and then that's when the Shadow Man comes out, and they realize,
and the Shadow Man is like, now this is when it gets kind of weird. The shadow person steps forth, and it's Danny's face. It's okay. I'm gonna read this out because this is really confusing. I am Danny's ghost, he declared. I am Danny's ghost. When he dies in this fire, I will no longer be a shadow. I will be born, and Danny will go to the shadow world in my place.
He's gonna go to the Shadow Realm? What?
He's gonna be sent to the Shadow Realm.
Oh no, he doesn't have Yu-Gi-Oh in there. What's he gonna do?
He doesn't believe in the heart of the cards, so he has to be sent to the Shadow Realm.
You're right. Danny just doesn't have the Millennium Puzzle.
So the thing is, they're like, what's supposed to happen is they're gonna go into the house and then start a fire.
Yeah, and then that's when like the kids get out, except Danny's still in there.
Hannah realizes she's a ghost. She can't be killed again. She has nothing to lose, so she goes in there to get him.
Yeah, no, I think actually the one thing I'm thinking about as well with the Shadow Man, I'm convinced that the publisher told R.L. Stine to change it, because I'm pretty sure that's probably the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, in the TV episode, isn't it?
Yeah, no, because I feel like that's the Shadow Man is the Grim Reaper, and I think I think they probably told him to change it.
Yeah, because like obviously like kids can't handle the concept of death, even though this book is called The Ghost Next Door.
I think it's really interesting. I really love to pick R.L. Stine's brain about this book.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one.
So Hannah goes in there, making her way downtown, making sure that Danny doesn't die. And she grabs him and she starts dragging him. But for some reason, she has human flaws. Like, she gets, like, smoke inhalation. Like, she has a hard...
Yeah, that didn't make sense to me, but I guess it was just for the sake of drama.
Yeah, like, she gets, like, smoke inhalation, and she drags Danny Boy out of the fire before the pipes are calling.
Yeah, and then he is in the hospital. His mom asks how he got out of the house, and he says, "It was Hannah that saved me. Hannah pulled me out." "Who's Hannah?" "You know," Danny replied impatiently, "the girl who lives next door." "There is no girl next door."
Oh my god. And then the saddest thing happens. Hannah starts floating up. She starts seeing a bright light.
And she sees her parents, and it was so, like, I wanted to cry. This is such an emotional ending.
You can. It's okay, Meg. I'll cry with you.
You can't see it, but I'm like clenching my fist, like you know that gif of the girl on like Top Model or whatever, who's like clenching her fist and nodding and crying. That's me right now.
I can see him, Mom, she said excitedly, brushing the tears off her cheek. I can see Danny in his room, but the light is getting faint, so faint. Hannah, come back. Come back to us, her mother whispered, calling her home. Danny, remember me, Hannah cried, as Danny's face appeared to be clearly in the misty gray. Could he hear her? Could he hear her calling to him? She hoped so. It's so... like, it's not a twist end. It's
a nice ending.
She goes...
I really like that they put the twist, like, midway through the book and then just had, like, a straightforward ending.
She gets to go to whatever respective...
Yeah. And it's like her business on Earth was, like, to save Danny. And that just... so good. This is a good book, Zach.
This is the kid version of Ghost.
Yeah, it is. It's like the little baby. That's like baby Ghost.
Danny's Patrick Swayze. Oh my god, it's a prequel, Meg. He gets saved by a ghost.
And then he's the ghost, and then he saves, who's the woman who's in Ghost? Is it Demi Moore?
I think so, yeah. I love this book. Like, Meg, I'm actually, like, getting a little teary-eyed now thinking about this.
This is one of the best ones. This is one of the best ones.
So, R.L. Stine, if you're listening, you've made two adult people get really misty-eyed about this book.
I know.
And this book was written for kids.
Yeah, it's like I've said many times before, like I said with I Am Fine, and like I said with Body Parts, I really like when authors who write books for kids don't sugarcoat stuff, and they just let kids have like dark stuff in what they're writing, like not just like spooky skeletons and werewolves and stuff, but like serious real life things.
Like, how does one handle death?
Yeah, like how do you handle death? What happens after you die?
It gets like super, super serious, like to the point of where this book is almost like I could be fairly certain that maybe R.L. Stine probably lost someone in his life at this time, and that's maybe why he wrote this book.
I think that's very true, because this book is like just a very honest look at loss and grieving.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, R.L. Stine lost his dad or his mom, and this is kind of like...
Or somebody, I don't know. We spend a lot of time, like, armchair psychoanalyzing R.L. Stine based on the content of his books.
Until R.L. Stine gets onto this show, we can say whatever we want. We have our fake PhDs. I got mine printed out.
If I, like, was a parent and, I don't know, a member of my family died, I would probably give this book to my kid to read.
Really? I think I'd still give them Bridge to Terabithia.
Yeah, but, like, it's because it's a good way to sort of, like, address questions that kids have about death.
Yeah, because it's kind of, especially, like, when you're, like, younger and you don't, like, kind of perceive what death is.
Yeah.
And you don't see, like, the thestrials.
Yes, this is such a good book. And I'm so glad that we read this straight after, Silent Night, because Silent Night was such hot garbage. Compared to this.
This is like one of those books also you can't really make a joke about because there's nothing really to joke about with this book.
No. The only thing that I found, like, funny in this book was the fell on our elbows and knees. And even though that wasn't really funny, that was just kind of, why did he write it like that?
There's so much we can easily talk about with this book. And it's just, you can get into like a very philosophical debate about life and death. But I think if we're leaving it as a kid's book, I think everyone should just buy it no matter what you do.
Like, if there was a Goosebumps Criterion collection, this one's definitely in it.
Oh, I mean, it's still being reprinted, so clearly.
Like, it's of the essential. But, like, if you had to cut down the Goosebumps series to, like, 15 books, this one would be in it. Definitely.
Oh, yeah, most
no
definitely.
contest. So, do you have a joke from R.L. Stine's to Jovial Bob's Book of Monster Jokes? Like, bring some levity to this very serious episode?
Oh, yeah, we need a joke. Let's see. You ready, Meg?
Yes, I am.
What kind of raincoat does Frankenstein's monster wear on a rainy day? It just says Frankenstein, so I switched to Frankenstein's monster.
Keep all the nerds from getting angry at us on Twitter.
So what kind of raincoat does he wear?
I don't know, Zach. What kind of raincoat does he wear?
A wet one?
I don't get it. Oh, it's like an anti-joke. Oh, okay.
I would think he would not want to wear a raincoat in case, he gets hit by lightning.
So, unfortunately, my book this week does not have that, like, fun section at the back. It just has a preview of The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena.
What would it be like? Hey, kids, this is what death's like.
Hey, kids. But, do we have any listener mail this week?
Well, we're actually going to be starting a new thing, so we're going to be doing, if anyone ever wants to post, like, mini reviews, you can email us at nightmareandfearstreet@gmail.com. We actually got one for this book.
Oh, nice.
So, from Nick and Matt Get Goosebumps. That's another Goosebumps podcast.
Hi, guys. You should come on our show sometime.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. If you want to come on the show, you can most definitely do. I think they're as big as Goosebumps fanatics as we are.
Oh, yeah. Well, I should hope so, or else why would they be hosting a Goosebumps podcast?
Hey guys, love the show. Recently reread The Ghost Next Door and was not prepared for how sad the story was. Not only did Hannah and her entire family die in a tragic fire, but it was ultimately Hannah's fault since she was the one who made the campfire in the backyard for her little brothers. Hannah was unable to go to camp with her friend because her family didn't have enough money to send her, but she still tried to make the best of it, never outright showed her disappointment. Stein's description of time passing and loneliness set the story apart from the rest. It's much more mature and had a melancholy that stuck with me after finishing the book. To add to it, the character of R.L. Stine in the movie explained that Hannah, his daughter in the movie, was created to help deal with his own loneliness.
That's right. We didn't talk about that because, as I sort of alluded to, if you've seen the Goosebumps movie, the main character of this book, Hannah, is the
Ghost Next Door.
The Ghost Next Door. And I hadn't thought about it for a while because, like, I knew that twist was going to be in the movie. Not to, like, how much of a Goosebumps fan I am, but, like, I knew for a fact that there was Ghost Hannah in this book, and then there's Werewolf Hannah in Werewolf Skin, which is another really good book.
Oh, yeah, that's a staple. Oh, we'll get there eventually in, like, the years 25, 55.
Oh yeah, it's way into the series. But so I was like, oh yeah, the twist is that Hannah's not real. I saw that a mile away. But like reading this book again, I couldn't think about it before, but like props to the people that wrote the movie for picking a book, like a character. If you were gonna pick a protagonist to like bring into the movie from a Goosebumps book, this is the one, because it's like they said, that's sort of like in the movie they make a big deal about how like R.L. Stine was like a lonely person and that his stories came to life because he like needed to.
He had no friends and he needed like a creativity.
Because like loneliness and isolation is a huge theme in this book. And I'm just really happy that like Hannah got to like at the end of the Goosebumps movie, Hannah got to like have a life.
Yeah, she got to live.
Yeah, it's sort of like made up for the fact that in Monster Squad, Frankenstein's monster gets taken away from that little girl, and that always makes me emotional. Oh, that's my least favorite part of that movie.
Be good.
No, Zach!
I'm just thinking of it now, just from like Van Helsing, like giving the thumbs up.
Oh.
I love that movie. Bogus.
I love that movie so much.
It's one of my I think it's better than Goonies.
It is. It's 100% better than the Goonies.
Let's see. I lost my place. Oh. This was also one of the few books that did not end with a twist or cliffhanger. We leave Hannah floating up towards her family, and having saved Danny's life, she hopes that she'll be remembered. The weakest part of the story for me was Danny's ghost, which confused me because that ghost was Malice and described as a Grim Reaper type. Oh, wow. Huh. He basically wanted to murder Danny so that he could take his place in the Shadow World, or Shadow Realm. Why would Hannah's ghost be unaware and seemingly unchanged by his death, and this over ghost be such an evil entity? It felt very inconsistent and took me out of an otherwise fantastic book. Curious to know what you guys thought. Take care, Matt. Thanks, Matt, for such a wonderful review. Oh my god.
Yeah, and pretty much all our thoughts exactly for all of that. You just hit on most of what we talked about in this episode. And yeah, that was a very good review. Like,
Matt, if you ever want to come on the show, just send us another email. We'll gladly have you on.
So, which book are we reading next week?
So, Meg, next week we're reading Broken Date by R.L. Stine, author of the Fear Street series.
Is it a Fear Street book?
I don't know. It doesn't.
Or is it one of his, like, side ones?
It might be one of his side ones. It doesn't. I think it might be a point horror book. I'm probably going to get emails about this.
We have not done point horror yet.
Yes, we have. I thought it was Halloween Night was a point horror book.
Was Halloween Night point horror? I thought that was just like a standalone novel.
I think it was a point horror book. I'm not really into... I don't know, like, the lore to point horror. I know, like, the Devil's Elbow knows all about that stuff. Good old friends of the show.
Well, so we'll be going into... if this is a point horror novel, we're both going to be going into this pretty blind. So that should be fun.
Anything about point horror. So I got like a super spooky announcement for you guys. Ooh. I'm going to be starting a brand new show soon. Oh my god. And it's going to be all about terrible bad movies, but not reviews. The whole show is going to be talk about why we love bad movies and how would you plan a midnight screening.
I love this concept.
Oh my god, I'm so excited to do this. I'm actually going to be having some episodes coming up with my good friend Austin. We're going to be talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie. And then we're going to be talking about...
Yeah, when I was a kid, year 5 classroom, we had the novelization of the Super Mario Brothers movie. And I read it because I ran out of, like, books that seemed interesting to read. Like, a lot of them were just, like, bad. And so one week, I just had the Super Mario Brothers movie novelization. And I read the whole thing, like, cover to cover in one 1 hour long lesson at school. And I was like, this is amazing. This is fantastic. I need to watch this movie right now. And then I watched the movie, and it was terrible.
What are you talking about?
Like, I like the Super Mario Brothers movie, but the novelization, like, added things that made it better.
You mean scenes they took out?
And, like, it explained some stuff that that, like, people have issues with.
Mario, and Luigi Mario.
Mario, and Luigi Mario.
So, those episodes will be dropping, starting next month. It's going to be coming out where I'm not going to give out the name yet, because we're still kind of working out what's going to be called. But you will be seeing more about it very soon. I know I have a whole rant about Jurassic Park 3.
I'm ready for this. I'm ready to hear it.
So Meg, where can they find you?
You can find me at Meg Chuden on Twitter. That's at MEGTUTEN. And you can also find me at sodasodabanana.tumblr.com. And you can buy Nightmare on Fear Street merchandise at my Redbubble store, which is redbubble.com/people/Megan Chuden. That's MEGHANTUTEN. I have got the Nightmare on Fear Street logo, a pink version and a green version, and I also have the Bigfoot Capoeira Time design, and I also have the Vampire Blood Can Melt Steel Beams design as well. And not Nightmare on Fear Street related, but I just put up a new one that is a Christmas with Mr. Strings t-shirt and mug, and I'm really proud of that one, and just go check it out. Maybe buy something. I know Christmas is over, but I would very much like some money. So where can they find you, Zach?
So you can find me on Twitter at Suda41, or if you want to follow our show, that's at Night Fear Street. If you want to email us and send these spooky messages or mini reviews, you can email us at nightmareandfearstreet@gmail.com. Other places you can find us is Spotify, Tumblr, other weird places. You can find us. You probably can find us in like an old boarded up well where there's just a MP3 player that has mysteriously ended up there.
Yeah, an MP3 player that is somehow miraculously 50 years old.
It's 50 years old, and it has a note that just says "Get out,"
and it never runs out of battery. Yeah, that was kind of a downer of an episode because this book is a little bit depressing. But
Hey Meg, you want to hear something funny?
What?
49. Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm Zach.
Do you know what's funnier than 24?
What?
25.
Well,
yeah, we closed it off with the SpongeBob reference because we can't get too serious on Nightmare on Fear Street.
Well, I'm Zach.
And I'm Meg.
And stay
spooky.
Oh my god, I forgot I'm in Oregon right now. Oh my god, there's gas everywhere. No.
No.